Have I ever told you how it is that I came to flee from the Underdark?
I had worshipped the Spider Queen for an age and a half, longer than you have been alive. But there came a time when my faith in Lolth was no more. I lapsed when a child, a baby, was to die. It would not have made Lolth stronger, or more influential, or made her a greater deity. I lost my will that day. One of the lesser priestesses noticed my hesitation, and she took the babe's life herself, eager to usurp my place in Lolth's favor. My house had fallen into disfavor with the Dark Queen as a result of my actions, and the word spread throughout the city. My mother scrambled to make sacrifices of wealth and servants to appease Lolth, but the goddess would have none of it. As is custom among the Drow, the weak become the prey of the faithful. A lesser house jumped at the opportunity and began a war with ours. Lolth was pleased at the house's aggression, and ours had to fight twice as hard to survive and regain Lolth's favor. My mother wished me to recant, to prostrate myself before the Spider Queen, and beg forgiveness. She was desperate that I do so, in fact. But I refused. I was disgusted with my queen, so I cursed my mother and endangered my house. In my naivete, I thought that I would survive after my actions. No. The memory of the events fills my heart with bile. I cannot continue. Another time, perhaps.
I am ready to continue my tale, if you are willing to hear it.
Let me see. I had told you of my mother, correct? She was desperate to restore Lolth's goodwill to the House DeVir, and I was proving uncooperative. My mother did the only thing she thought she could do, of course. She commanded that I be offered as a sacrifice to appease the Spider Queen. I was surrounded by male soldiers who attempted to cart me off to the temple. I hated my mother, but I knew that she did the right thing. I knew that my queen would indeed be pleased by one of her daughters being offered to her. I fought grandly, killing many of the males. But it was futile. I was overwhelmed, dragged to the temple, and splayed across the altar in preparation for the priestesses to take my life. I was frightened, terrified, in fact. I would have died, in fact, if it were not for my brother, my poor, foolish brother, Valas. He was no mere male. Is it so difficult for you to believe that I might have cared for another once? Our relationship was unusual, yes. I cannot understand the relationships, the closeness, that the families of the surface retain with each other. In the Underdark, things are very different. My family was much the same as any other Drow family, which is to say, it is nothing like you know a family to be. Children are raised by the priestesses or the matrons of the house. There is no affection or loyalty. All exist to serve Lolth. Even as one grows older, one is little more than chattel to the house and the greater glory of Lolth. I had 14 sisters, and each one was more of a danger and a rival than the next. Most of them perished young, many by my own hand. Fathers do not exist as you know it. The males service the matron of the house when she wishes to conceive, or when she desires pleasure. Indeed, Drow males are educated in all forms of erotic pleasure. They exist to please women, and live or die at their whim. There are normally no brothers, although some males are favored more than others. Most simply exist to serve queen and house, but this is not always the case. Amongst the Drow, cruelty and pain are both armor and shield. It makes us deadly. Lolth encourages competition and rivalry to keep us strong. That was her rule. As with every rule, there are exceptions. My brother, Valas, was an exception to the standard Drow male. He was my childhood friend, and perhaps my only friend, after all is said. As a boy, he would set cantrips about the royal hall, giggling hysterically when a hapless handmaiden would stumble on a colossal sulfur-stink glamour. As an adult, he was a useful wizard, and amused my mother enough that she did not sell him into slavery. He watched over me and protected me, and I ensured that the worst of the abuses that befell males did not strike him. In the end, he saved my life. He prevented my sacrifice and killed our mother, giving me the opportunity to flee. He no longer exists. I am cold and tired and no longer in the mood to speak. Excuse me.
My brother is what finally made me break my faith fully from the Spider Queen. His actions, I mean, saving me from sacrifice.
I had begun to question Lolth's appetite for power and absolute devotion with the child, but I did not cast her out of my heart fully until Valas saved my life. Valas used his magic to free me, and when my mother became enraged and tried to stop him from ruining the house, he killed her. It was the ultimate act of defiance for a Drow male, and Lolth did what she does to all males who defy her. She transformed him into a Drider, a half-drow, half-spider creature of pure malice and base instinct. Valas was wiped away, replaced by this monstrous thing. I cursed Lolth's name for what she had done to him. I renounced the Dark Queen with every fiber of my being, and she was not pleased. She abandoned me, left me completely without power. I had no brother, no power, and House DeVir was, as far as I knew, falling. I was forced to flee the Underdark, making my way quickly to the surface before the other Drow could stop me, cursing and crying the entire way. Yes, it was. Never have I been more terrified until I found the grace of the Night Singer.
If you would please sit with me for a moment before you retire, I would be thankful. I find myself uncharacteristically overcome with anxiety, and I'm not eager to be alone for the evening.
I have been thinking of Lolth. She is cruel, not known for forgiveness, and always takes revenge. Collecting the lapsed and fallen. I know she will come for me, because she never forgives a trespass. She keeps a frightening thrall over her sect, visiting from the demon web as often as a peasant visits the greengrocer. She will answer any summons simply to make a vainglorious entrance and impress the gathered. I have seen her power, what she does to those who fall from grace. It is because I have seen, because I have felt the lash of tentacle rods, that she will leave me to think I am safe or free, and then she will come for me. I dream of Valas sometimes, and I try to speak to him in my dreams, but he is only a monster now, and I scream when his horrid spider legs caress me. I think, what can Lolth do to me if she has done this to Valas? What worse torments await me when she finally decides to come? I am frightened to my very core. Do not leave me alone. Stay with me this night. I need to feel your flesh next to mine, to embrace your strength. Let me partake of you. Drink of your courage this night. See what a Drow female may offer. I shall inflame your passions, your senses. Stay with me.